When somebody falls, you don't laugh, you learn. The Wizard Liz situation is unfortunate, but I think there's so many takeaways. I did speak about this in 2025 when she was a few months pregnant, so I'm going to roll the clip and then we'll speak from there. Women who operate in ego tend to not just attract but submit themselves, surrender themselves to abusive men. And we're seeing this with the Wizard Liz, we're seeing this with Halle Bailey, we're seeing this with Sky Jackson. I really wish women would just pay attention and learn the lessons rather than make excuses, rather than because you're a fan, you're going to say, oh, she didn't deserve that. If it happened to her, then we're doomed as women. My guy, Beyonce got cheated on. I think we need to think a bit more logically right now. All of you guys are in your feelings and you're not thinking. I ain't here to kick a dog when they're down. But when you put your life on the internet and you broadcast things, you now become a case study. This is a teachable moment for those who are willing to gain some wisdom, some insights into the way life goes. You need to understand that you are always in alignment with the person you're with. And I think if you look at the Wizard Liz situation, that's when I'm saying you'll see that she's operating in ego, because you're always in alignment with the person you're dating, the person you marry. No one comes into your frequency unless they are a match. So when you want to say, oh, this man, that man, they did this, and yes, he's a terrible person. We know this. It's obvious. You could take one good look at him and see that he's the feminine and she's the masculine, and therefore there's the ego. But the problem is when women stop there, rather than saying, when I point one finger, one points back at me. And that will preserve you in the long term. You have to understand even ChatGPT gives good advice. Just because someone comes on the net and talks all this baddie stuff and be a boss and know your worth, the real tea is, for you to even respond to him cheating, go on your socials and talk, even when you're 4 months pregnant, that is even ego. But I don't think women are even ready for that conversation. Women, we talk about men and their egos, women and their egos. I don't even think we've scratched the surface of this conversation. But scratching it will actually preserve you. And I feel like a lot of people will not like me for this message, but it could actually save your life from submitting to a dusty, submitting to someone who ain't got no respect for you, who doesn't even like you, because the tea is most men will probably cheat in this life, whether they cheat on you, but most men will cheat in this life. But the man who shames you, he doesn't even like you. You understand? He doesn't even like you because he knew. This guy knew what he was doing when he did that to the Wizard Liz, right? But let me show you an ego. You have to understand, ego in a woman, it's like you think you're in control. You think because of my self-worth and because of who I am, I will not. It's all me, and it's very self-absorbed. And you have to understand, people are predatory in nature, but men are hunters by nature. Men can sniff out their prey. So whilst all you girls were lapping it up, he knew exactly who she was. Not by her words solely. He read deeper. He read into another layer that most women will miss because they're hearing. Women like the candy floss gospel. Women like to just hear the stuff that makes them feel good. Ego shows up as, you married this man and now you're doing Q&A with my husband and all of this stuff. As a woman, when you marry, you don't publicize your marriage. Because what you're saying is, the reason I'm saying it's ego is because you're acting like he can't make mistakes like this. Like he'll never do you like that. Why would you bet on a man's balls in this life? With the context of just men, period. And one thing I want to say is, I'm not even with that gospel that, oh, men are this and men are that. No. It's just women don't get caught when they cheat. That's the only difference. But men and women are equally as bad. No one can tell me any different. It's just one has more power, so they can display the bad more. But if we were in a different society, women would be doing the same wickedness. People are people. Do you understand? I don't do this gender stuff. I just urge women to stop operating in ego and start operating in wisdom. Go within. Humility is everything, especially when it comes to dealing with people. Don't think you are above. Don't think you're too good for something. Don't think. And even an accountability, understand, because if you dare take from this that I am blaming her, you don't understand what accountability is. And accountability will preserve you in this life. I highly suggest Let this be a teachable moment for you, because all these, the Halle Bailey, Sky Jacksons, all of this is ego. And ego will end you up in the trenches with a nigga. Okay? If you're watching this video, you probably know what's already going on with the Wizard Liz, so I won't go into details. But present day, it's just that now she's not with the child. And I spoke about this on TikTok, and I got a lot of smoke, which is funny because now she's yielded to whether she saw my video or someone else's video, that I said, this man is intentionally trying to trick you out of your position. People are acting like I'm being insensitive, and people even trying to talk about her image, like it's not all about her image. I'm not talking about her image. I'm talking about her sanity, her mental health. She's clearly, with all due respect, she's an idiot. She has walked into the same burning building called Landon so many times. Like, it's actually diabolical. This was the same person giving you advice. I'm glad I never listened to her. I'm glad I listened to my spirit. From the minute that man, the pregnancy, the cheating and all the abusive stuff and all of that stuff, you should have decided I'm not going to co-parent. Now you're in this toxic situation. Unless she can get that baby and leave and go to another country and completely isolate. But with a case like this where he's going to the family's house and he's begging and all of this stuff, you are better off just saying, have the kid. It's just a lot of you would like to see a woman suffer because it makes you feel good, especially a beautiful woman like her. This is not the time to be all moral and righteous. It's time to get real and to be pragmatic. Because her mental health will suffer. That man will take her, you know.
A few moments later.
I abandoned my child. No, I abandoned myself. Staying through all of the bullshit for my child. I want to say to every single woman, if a man is blackmailing you with your child, give them the child. Let these men be single parents.
He's using that baby as a tool and as a weapon. I spoke about this. I said it. Now she's making videos acting like she doesn't care anymore when you've just been on live stream crying. And this is, you know, the first thing I want to bring up is the importance of a good support network. Unfortunately, this is a case where she clearly doesn't have good counsel around her. Because even to just be going online and ranting and talking, like being extremely emotional, and especially when you know you're a beautiful woman, a lot of women envy you and are happy that your life is being teared down in that way. That says you're not even thinking. This situation is the evidence of how she truly feels about herself, and furthermore, evidence of how a lot of women truly feel about themselves. It is easy to say things, give advice, and act like I know my worth and I'm a certain type of person and sound, you know, great. It's so easy. You have to learn to test the spirit. You have to learn to also just let time ultimately be the evidence of the person you are. Circumstances will come by and test your character. She has evidently not passed that test. Unfortunately. There is a difference between head knowledge and heart knowledge. I'm not saying everything that the Wizard Liz was preaching or speaking online about was bad. But you can tell her versus someone maybe like a Shara 7. Again, I'm not trying to prop her up because that's not me, but in comparison, because they're in that kind of hypergamy, you know your worth space, you can tell Shara 7 that is heart knowledge. That's something, it's not just something to say. She's not saying this in vain. It's something she truly believes and is convicted in, and her actions are the evidence of that. Whereas with the Wizard Liz, you can see that no, that sounded great to you, it felt good to you, but in practice, you failed. You have failed consistently to honor yourself. This has been a very ugly experience. I want this to be a reminder, ultimately, to have humility. Have humility, because again, none of us are above what she went through. But this definitely could have been prevented. And even if, say, you are subject to something as horrible as that, the response, Again, it just shows that you're not somebody who's really got the skill of thinking. You're just another girl. It's just you're so beautiful that... And that shows the power of beauty. If anything, this is a very good case study for the power of beauty and how it can influence millions. Her gospel has been digested by millions of young women purely because of a pretty face, you know? How do you seek wise counsel in this life? Me personally, I never was drawn to her. But then again, that's just my ability to discern because I've made mistakes prior where I've bought into people's narratives or religion even, and then realizing that, oh, these people aren't even who they say they are. So that's my personal journey. So sometimes you have to fall on your face a couple of times and trust in the wrong people to then pick up and trust your gut when you say, well, I'm not going to receive what they have to say. And you have to have that guard on your life. You have to have that filter on your life when it comes to the content you are digesting. You also have to have the ability to interpret for your reality. Because one person saying one thing, it's not your lived experience. They are a completely different person in a completely different context with also a completely different nature and nurture to you. You may be women, but you live different lives, and you have to be able to think your way through life. And a big part of that is how you digest information, how you collect information, and then what that produces within you in terms of your behaviors, your actions. When it comes to dating, is there truly a formula? No. The best you can do is give it time, which she failed to do. She jumped in heart first, which is so funny because her content was all about thinking and your head and, you know, the way you maneuver life strategically. But she jumped in heart first. You allow for time to tell. Sometimes relationships work out, sometimes they don't. But at least time allows for what needs to be revealed to have a higher chance of being revealed. Unfortunately, in this case, she still is proving herself to not have humility in even how she's dealing with the child not being in her care. And she's trying to make it like, oh, I'm unbothered now, as if she's yielded to my advice, and maybe a few other creators have said the same thing. And it's failing because her ego is still very present. There's no humility. And you can sniff that out. I say in this world, you are prey as a woman, but you can be smart prey. That's the good thing. You are prey, which is not ideal, but you can be smart prey. And that will protect you. Ultimately, I want to say dating is a very reflective experience, and it's a beautiful process because you grow. When you date people, there's a form, there is character development within that. I would just hope more people can take the lessons, because then you don't have to be 25, 26, 27 and still being played as if you were an 18-year-old girl. You know, learn the lessons, see where your wounds are. You know, it may bring up things in you, and that's okay. The goal is that you're honest so that you can work through it, so that you can have the ideal relationship. To conclude, learn to think for yourself and stay out of your ego as much as possible. Humility is everything. It's a form of protection. Take care.